You let's just hop right into it.
Before
Like he said, before we hop back into this, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna explain a little bit. I was going back through making sure everything was good on the last video I did on this, where I reacted, and I actually came across something, and it's the fact that the other one kinda didn't have stuff. It was like missing some parts, and it missed the torn prints. I rewatched the movie and I realized I didn't even see the torn prints when I believe that's his thing when I did the backstory. So I am watching an official one that is all of them, and I'm going through and I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. So I'm sorry about that, guys. But at the same time, it's a second video on this, you know? I'm still looking for 13 Ghosts, by the way, for a video game. So far, I've just come across another game that was made, but it was like a board game, I believe, or a card game. So, nothing yet, but I will come across a video game, hopefully. Cross fingers. But, let's get right into this. I've wasted
he became
plenty of
my
time.
firstborn son, little
Not like
Billy
that,
Michaels
so,
was simply a
so
stubborn brat. His obsession with the world of cowboys and Indians took precedent over all else. Any attempt to drag Billy out of his fantasy world sent him flying into a rage. His parents thought it all a harmless phase, until the day that a neighbor boy discovered a real bow and arrow in his father's closet and taunted the notorious Cowboy Billy into a duel. But Billy's toy cap gun was no match for the steel-tipped arrow that took his life. His rebellious attitude and refusal to accept defeat was a perfect fit for my violent circle of angry spirits.
okay. The first one, the firstborn son. Now, the second one.
Most people have gambled at least once in their life,
The
but
torso.
for Jimmy the
This
Gambler
one so
DeVito,
far is like
betting was his
not
life and
the
death.
craziest, but I would say the
Son
scariest
of
to
a boy,
die.
Jimmy spent his childhood days at the
The way to
track
die, I
instead of
guess.
at school, and his nights in the gambling dens of seedy bars. Eventually, Jimmy opened a booking business of his own.
Also, I will have the link down in the description for this video as well as the first video if you guys haven't seen it, where it is my initial first reaction to this. This video is my reaction to the stuff that I missed. So we're going through and making sure that I covered everything when I went through the first time. Because now this is everything.
Unable to turn down a
Sorry about
bet,
that, guys.
he barely covered his payoffs. Jimmy's reputation caught the attention of made man Larry the Finger Vitello. Larry approached Jimmy to place a large bet on the long shot in a heavyweight fight. Jimmy knew the risk, but needed to uphold his reputation, so he shook hands with Larry and sealed his fate.
Good
As
idea.
his fighter took a deciding blow, Jimmy fainted to the floor. When Jimmy came to, Larry had arrived to collect his winnings. But Jimmy was cleaned out, so Larry made an example out of him. Actually, several small examples. He chopped him into little pieces, wrapping them in cellophane and dumping them into the ocean. Together they formed the pieces which completed my search for the torso.
His screaming still lurks in the back of my mind every time I watch it. It's just horrifying. The bound woman. Oh, I don't like this. We don't even get commentary for this one. This one's see in the video we watched there was commentary, and this one there's literally no commentary right now. But this is guys, make sure to go watch the first video if you haven't. Okay, I I'm not too sure why there's no sound over this one. Hopefully, any of the stuff I didn't miss, it won't be late. Oh, I think that's why. I think it's because he
That
curses.
jealous monster would have made a nice compliment alongside Susan. Such
Maybe.
wretched words and behavior, but his results were quite fitting.
Oh,
My easiest choice had to have been the withered lover, considering Jean Criticos was my nephew's wife.
I still think he might
Her
have
bright,
sabotaged
tortured
things.
soul held just the magnitude of suffering I required. As a wife and mother, Jean was loving and devoted. I must say that my nephew married a wonderful and proper woman,
It almost
but
sounds
their
like he's
happiness
been
came to a
like
fiery
watching
end one
her.
fateful
He's like,
night.
I don't
After
know. It's
decorating
just
around the
it's
Christmas tree,
it makes me
the
think that
family had
he's been
snuggled
around
together in
there
front of a
long enough to
roaring
know
fire.
when to be able
In the
to
dead of the night, a
do
still
something like this.
smoldering log rolled out onto the carpet, igniting
Rolled
instantly.
out. Had it
A
roll
small
out.
alarm sent Arthur into one of his famous panics. He rushed down the hall to save his children, assuming, of course, that his wife would head outside. Arthur soon realized he had assumed wrong. The firemen kept Jean's family from going back in after her. Poor Arthur was devastated by not saving her, but her oh so tragic death served my needs perfectly.
You.
The Torn
This is
Prince
it.
was
This is the
born
one.
in 19...
This is the one that I did not get to. I apologize again. I wish that I caught that on when we were on the video and I just fixed it. But here we are, guys. We got this.
1940 by the name of Royce Clayton.
Royce Clayton.
At
Just one
17, Royce was a star slugger on his baseball team. Every college in the country courted him, all offering first-class tickets out of his miserable small-town life. But fate threw Royce a curveball in the form of a local greaser who challenged him to a drag.
Oh shit.
Royce held his own for the first half-mile, then suddenly lost control of his little sweetheart. The hot rod flipped 3 times before bursting into flames. His peers watched in horror as the fire engulfed their fallen hero. Needless to say, he never escaped his small-town life. His remains still buried in a small plot overlooking his beloved ball field.
Makes sense now. It's the Torn Prince. But at first, I thought maybe he was in a different sort of accent. I did not expect it to be a drag race sort of ideal. Well, anyone who's driving, just know to be careful on the road. Something like that might happen.
The angry princess was a young woman whose beauty became her ruin. Dana Newman was blessed with the natural looks of a goddess, but cursed with an inability to recognize it. Her vanity and insecurity was only fueled by a string of abusive boyfriends. By the time of her 20s, depression had dragged Dana into a downward spiral of self-loathing that doctors struggled to save her from. Her desperate search for perfection led to employment with a plastic surgeon, where her wage was paid in nose.
I think some of that was also cut from the other one we watched. Because I don't remember anything about her. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't hear anything last time about it. So there's something we missed.
Jobs, breast implants,
It's
and
sad.
an endless array of other needless procedures. Alone in the office one night, Dana tried to perform surgery on herself in a desperate attempt to remove an unperceivable imperfection on her face. The unorthodox procedure went horribly wrong, and she was left blinded in one eye. She finally gave up on achieving perfection and mutilated herself in a bathtub until her veins ran.
If you haven't seen the movie, in it there's a certain scene, and it makes you think about this backstory if you manage to see the backstory before these backstories before you watch the movie. That makes sense. But after watching this and then watching the movie again, I saw this and I was like, wait, I remember this. You'll know what I mean. Just go watch 13 Ghosts, okay? Especially if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing movie. I highly recommend it. Great movie.
When they found her, they said that she was
Oh, maybe I'm not show that one second. Because I'm not too sure if I did show that last video or not. Yeah, maybe. Just sorry. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Miss Isabella Smith was my choice for The Pilgrimess. Her story began in 1675 when the orphaned Isabella journeyed from England in the hope of finding a comfortable home in a quaint New England town. But problems began soon after she arrived. The tight-knit townsfolk didn't trust outsiders. When their livestock started to die mysteriously, the town's preacher accused Isabella of witchcraft. She denied the claim, but the town quickly turned against her.
Just leave the poor girl alone, okay? If she says she didn't do it, she didn't do it. I believe it.
As more livestock fell ill, the preacher acquired a mysterious illness. The town rallied into a frenzy, cornering Isabella in a farmhouse.
I think I missed that as well. Either it didn't say it or it didn't. I just didn't catch on to that. But somebody gave a mysterious notice, or like basically saying that I think that she's doing it. I think that's what it's saying. So somebody tried pointing the blame at her for it, even though more livestock. You know what? What if livestock died because of somebody else and they were jealous that she got there?
Which they lit on fire. But moments later, Isabella miraculously crawled out, still.
I don't think that was what I thought last time, where she maybe was a witch and she protected herself. Maybe it was a form of luck and she got out of there luckily, but they saw it as witchery and therefore
alive, and without a single burn upon her skin. The astounded townsfolk sentenced her to a slow death in the stocks.
yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I think she miraculously, like, she got out of there with luck. Like, even though it looks like the house was burnt down, nobody really could survive that. But, like, who knows? But yeah, I think that it was a form of luck, and they thought she was a witch, and she was just protecting herself. Well, obviously, they thought she was a witch before that, but I hope you guys get what I mean.
There she stayed for weeks while children stoned her, women cursed her, and men spat on her. The humiliation proved worse than the pain. Finally, Isabella succumbed to starvation. Whether or not she was a witch, I can't say, but her powerful anguish served my needs well.
Yeah, no, I don't think she was actually a witch. I think it was them. It was
Margaret
them
Shelburne,
just
the
being
dire
horrible.
mother, was a shy
The
woman who
dire
would
mother.
never stand up for herself, partly because she rose to only a mere 3 feet in height.
This is also new. Oh, sorry. That's also new. The kid, I believe, was first. I don't think the mother was first.
Childhood, she was stared at for her pint size. Her own mother would even sometimes dress her like a doll. Margaret didn't
It's
care,
horrible.
as long as she found some perverse form of acceptance. A carnival barker named Jimbo put her on display in his freak show. Life was horrible, being an attraction for people to gawk at. One night, while sweeping up a donkey,
Nope.
she spawned a beastly offspring of her own. Oh, she loved her dear son Harold more than life itself, never letting him out of her sight. The circus workers teased and tormented them relentlessly, a conflict that played itself out with bloody resolve that left nearly the entire circus free of life, including poor Margaret and Harold. Well, as they say, there's no business like show business.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, listen. Show business, if it comes at a cost, no. Especially if it's that bad, no.
One of the strangest ghosts.
And it's just horrible. I don't. I think that also missed out on something, unless the Great Child's gonna say it in here. But I'll say it if the Great Child doesn't say it for them.
Had to be Harold Shelburne, the Great Child. His 3-foot-tall mother, Margaret Shelburne, was wildly overprotective of her son, smothering and spoiling him from infancy, and never stopping as he grew. Harold could barely care for himself, and as a result, remained in diapers his entire life. Mocked at every turn, they sought refuge with the traveling freak show run by a man named Jimbo. But even a life in the circus was no escape, as they were continually taunted and tormented by their own twisted kind. One night, some of the freaks kidnapped Margaret as a cruel joke.
So initially on the first video we watched, I'm pretty sure it told that she got kidnapped. Or no, maybe not. Maybe my brain's just geeking with me. I think maybe this is right because it says what the outcome of this is. If that makes sense again. Sorry. Also, last video, I kind of brought it up a little bit, but I didn't say too much on it, I don't think. But Jimbo, I really do think that this is the circus that the mother was originally from. And I think that they either came across it again or maybe she just stayed in the same circuit. No, I'm an idiot. They did stay in the same circus, but then, like what the other story was saying, it ended up with bad results, and the mother ended up dying there with
In a panic-fueled rage, Harold destroyed the entire carnival in search of his mother. When he finally found her, she had died of suffocation. Filled with hatred, Harold grabbed an axe and had his revenge on the freaks, displaying what was left of them in the carnival for every paying customer to see. When Jimbo found out what had happened, he had Harold mutilated beyond what you or I can comprehend. Jimbo found out what had happened was left of them in the carnival for every paying customer to see. When Jimbo found out what had
When Jimbo thought it was him that was saying this. Okay, so when I first watched this, I kind of let this skin because I thought that the kid right there, the school girl's like, hmm? I thought he was Jimbo at first, even though now I know who Jimbo is. He's the carny guy, the one who brought them to the circus, or is the circus guy that they joined. But when he found out what happened with Harold, which is the great son, what happened with him at the carny,
he had Harold mutilated beyond what you or I can comprehend.
that's so dark. And that's why the mother and her died. The mother and the great child died there because the great mother suffocated there. Harold did what he did, and Jimbo had him mutilated. I wish I got onto that on the first one, but again, here we are now.
Maybe you. And you thought your family was weird.
You thought your family was weird. So far, the Torn Prince is really the only one we're missing. We've
George
missed.
Markley was a happy,
Yeah.
honest blacksmith in the early 1890s before the horrific events that transformed him into the Hammer.
This guy, I'm pretty sure, was a good guy until...
A hard-working man named Nathan wrongfully accused Mr. Markley of stealing. A hard-working man named Nathan wrongfully accused Mr. Markley of stealing.
Somebody accused somebody of stealing. I'm guessing either he accused the initial guy we're talking about, or the initial guy's accusing him of stealing.
And threatened to run him out of their booming town. Knowing he was innocent, George stood up to Nathan and refused to move.
That's what happened. Okay, so the other guy accused him of stealing and told him to get out of their town. But then he stood up to him, I'm thinking.
One day, when George's wife and 2 children were walking home from the market, Nathan and his gang of thugs attacked them, brutally killing them.
It's so horrible,
George
dude.
tracked down Nathan and his friends and
I don't even blame the Hammer for this. I don't blame him for going
beat
up.
them to a pulp with
Yep.
his massive blacksmith's
I
hammer.
don't blame him.
The local townspeople captured.
At the same time, obviously, right, but I don't blame you for doing that, for killing your family. I mean, I'd absolutely hold me back. We'll be like, but
George and dragged him back to his shop where he received a townspeople captured George
the townspeople captured him.
and dragged him back to his shop where he received a brutal form of frontier justice. Tied
It's not justice if the other people killed his family. If anything, lock him in a cell, I guess, but
to a tree, nails were driven deep
this
into
is
his body
horrible.
with his own hammer. They finished the job by cutting off his most prized possession, his hand.
Then he grabbed it.
Crudely fastened to his severed appendage was the tool of his livelihood, the hammer, readied for one last chance at vengeance.
That was pretty freaky. We'll say the scariest, in my opinion. Well, yeah, in my opinion, the scariest would have to be the jackal. I don't know, it just really gets me. But back to the hammer. How did he just get up after he got unchained and went hammer for hand? I wonder how that happened, but it's very sad. Most of these are really sad. There's a lot of them are dark as well.
Ryan Q, the man who became the Jackal, was born in 1887 to a prostitute. Ryan later developed a sick and insatiable appetite for the female gender, attacking prostitutes and stray women with the cunning of a wild animal. As a means to cure his insatiable appetite, Ryan committed himself to Borehamwood Asylum. After years of imprisonment in a padded room, he went completely insane, scratching at the walls so violently that his fingernails were torn completely off. The doctors kept him permanently bound in a straitjacket, tying it tighter when he acted out, causing his limbs to contort horribly. Still fighting to free himself, Ryan gnawed through his straitjacket until the doctors finally locked his head in a cage and sealed him away in a dark basement cell. There he grew to hate.
It just completely locked him away, dark in the deep dark, down deep dark.
Any kind of human contact, screaming madly and cowering whenever. There he grew to hate any kind of human contact, screaming
I mean, what do you expect when you put him down away from people? You get more and more of an animal.
madly and cowering whenever approached by people. When a fire broke out in the asylum, everyone but Ryan escaped. He chose to stay behind and meet his deserved fate.
Yeah, he just did not want to go. He was like, nope, this is where I stay.
The juggernaut was known in
And
life
then
as Horace
juggernaut.
Breaker Mahoney. Horace was born oversized and horribly disfigured, spending his childhood as an outcast. His mother abandoned him at an early age, and his father put him to work in their junkyard, where Horace's teenage years were spent alone, crushing and chopping up old cars. His father died, and with no parent to steer him, the 7-foot-tall giant snapped. His first kill was a pair of female hitchhikers. He drove them back to the junkyard and tore them apart with his bare hands, feeding the pieces to his dogs. Many more kills followed. His M.O. was towing stranded motorists back to the yard where he would meticulously break every bone in their bodies. But his luck ran out, as it always does, the night he picked up an undercover female cop. It took over a dozen men to subdue the immense giant, 3 of whom lost their lives when Horace broke free of his handcuffs. But poor Horace's struggle eventually ended when 5 officers pumped nearly 50 rounds of ammo into him, and then another clip into his lifeless corpse, just to be sure.
So guys, that explains all of the holes in his body. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, my very first ever watch, or even like watching it after watching the backstories, I kind of thought about that more after seeing it. Because all the other ones, obviously, you can see kind of what happened. The one bound, or not bound woman, the one woman, the pilgrimess, she's in the one thing. Bound woman obviously has the thing around her neck, and she's like acting like she was like being strangled. Um, Torso, you can obviously see what happened to him, wrapped up, chopped up, obviously try to hide a body. Uh, Torn prints now, I mean, kind of makes sense now that I have the backstory. I mean, it makes actually more sense, a lot of sense now. But, uh, basically what I'm trying to say is with their appearances in the backstories, they really go together nicely. That was 13 Ghosts. This was a very good movie, and I again highly recommend you will watch it. But if not, it's completely okay. Uh, I'm gonna keep continuing to try to find a game to play for you guys, but if I can't find one, I apologize. I'm not gonna stop until I do. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.